Hi, Kobe. Well, I've been working on more test code for the PinePhone Pro. I've been working on the programs over here and then just pulling the code over here on the phone, and so I'll show you what I did. So I have several tests. We'll start with the bouncy balls test, which I was just trying to see how many things it could run on the screen at once. So for instance, if I enter, let's just say, numlock, 100, and so it'll generate 100 little bouncy balls, and that runs just fine. So you can try different amounts. I've got to rerun this again. So let's try 1,000. That still runs pretty well. Let's try 2,500. Okay, noticeably slower, and then past that it gets a lot slower. I also have bouncy sprites, which is basically the same thing, except not with the basic rectangle or circle shape, but with actual sprites. So again, we can run this, and we can do 1,000 sprites, and then they're just bouncing all over the place. And we can do that again and try 2,500, and it still runs pretty decently. Let's try 5,000. So then that starts getting slower, but do you really need 5,000 sprites on the screen? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're working on, I guess. And then the thing I just finished working on here is a port of a game I had on Android, which is Pick and Sticks. What is that? LXXIV is like 40 or something. So I'll just should run it this way. So, that didn't quite scale to the screen the way I wanted it to. But we could try to close it and reopen it. I was hoping it would scale a little better. Well, I can fix that some more. But basically it just has like a really crude touchscreen D-pad, and like this is how the game ran on Android as well. I had just made it where like you accelerate based on the direction you push, and so kind of the fun of it is making it trying to get the stick when your physics is so weird. Let's go ahead and really quick see what this looks like if I run it in landscape mode. I think it's supposed to just stay to that size. Okay, I should have set it to full screen, but I can test that some more. So let's try if it's in full screen mode. I'm still kind of trying to test this out since, yeah, that doesn't look much better. And now I have to figure out how to get out of a full screen app. Shoot, I didn't program in an exit button. We will just restart. But since the phone has a specific resolution, but you could have it zoomed in, I've been trying to play around with figuring out how to get the display to look the best. Yeah, so for instance, the window dimensions, I tried to get it set up at 1440 by 720, but it like resized to this in this case. The the screen size of the phone, actually this is what I tried to set for the game, and then this is what the phone is allowing currently for its display. And we can see over here, this is 480-ish, and down here that's about in the 900s, 950. And so if I go into like the settings and change that up a little bit, we'll see different numbers. So for instance, let's turn this to 100%, and that'll be very hard to hit buttons. And go back to code blocks. Where are we at? So then we'll run this again. And now, even though I said the screen should be 1440, well, I put that as the width, so I could change that instead, but now the window dimensions are 720 wide and 1440 tall. So, at the moment, it's resizing the window and forcing it to take up the full screen, but it's not resizing the game. And I do have code that handles this. It's just part of a larger, basically my game engine, so I'd have to import a lot more code. But this was just kind of to test out, like, how is it handling these? Or if I change this to say full screen, then, how does that affect it? So as an example, I've also brought the version of the game that I'm currently working on over here. Now, that game is supposed to be in landscape mode because I'm trying to make it for the Playdate console, which will be widescreen. So let's just see how this scales on here, because it should have something that dynamically scales. And I don't remember if I set it to full screen or not, but we will see. It's building. It's building my entire engine. I don't know what that means. Cannot find a variable specification at offset. Okay, I had just forgotten to add the game state to this version of the project, because, you know, I usually work on this on my computer. Okay, so here's the game I'm currently working on for PC and for the Playdate and for the PinePhone. So, not really much happens right now, but there's a little, let me see if, okay, note to self, mouse movement does not work. I thought I had this working on like any resolution and any screen size, but not here apparently. You have to like offset your stuff. Okay, well, we can draw some black tiles and fix this wall kind of, and then if okay, yeah, it's completely offset. I'll have to fix this, but there's also the play button, which at the moment doesn't work. If I was on my computer, I would have input with a D-pad, but I was going to try to also make it so that it can work with the touch screen, but I'm also probably going to either add some sort of virtual input press, like a little D-pad or something. It's turn-based, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's, you know, the other characters don't move unless you move first, but that's just, I thought I had fixed the screen resolution change mouse offset problem, but apparently not when I run it on the PinePhone. So I'll fix that later. And so right now it's time to say goodbye to the PinePhone. I tell it to shut down. It doesn't shut down. So then I read this from someone else on the forums. They just take out the battery to maintain the power. So I've been doing that too, because otherwise it's gonna run itself completely down, because none of my chargers seem powerful enough to really have it charge and not continue decharging or, you know, losing charge. So when I'm not using that, or this, I just throw it in here and close up the box, and I've been taking it with me when I go to work to just mess around with.